What up, though? Welcome back. All right. So this one won't be long. I just wanted to kind of hop on here real quick because I was at the gym earlier today and I saw this unique phrase on a shirt a young man was wearing. It was fantastic. It said purpose in big, bold print. Then it said no risk, no story. Right. Oh, I got my grapes too. Purpose, no risk, no story. I thought that was kind of dope. Right. I mean, it was on the back of his shirt. But as everything always gets me to thinking more, always centered around my five principles, right? Deep rest, gratitude, deep stillness, physical activity, nutrition, personal workflow. I always think about with these things that I do, it does culminate in me fulfilling my purpose, right? But when I read that purpose, no risk, no story. Remember, I talked about calculated risk taking and security making and all that, faith and all that by having faith within your vision, true faith within your vision and the God within you or goddess within you that will help you bring it to fruition to the tangible reality. You're taking a calculated risk. So I thought that was a very unique phrase because it was well done to be short on the back of a shirt. But the reality is, if you take the full purpose, no risk, no story, there's always going to be a story. That's what life is. Life is a story. Now, the fulfillment, the level of a story worth reading, right? A novel worth writing, a autobiography worth, listening to, a docu-series, a documentary worth, its weight in gold. That is a different thing. That is what I believe these five principles are helping me cultivate from my story, a story worth reading because I take calculated risk. I'm building the hero's arc or the hero's story along the way in such a way that it should be intriguing for someone to want to hear it, learn from it, grow from it, be inspired by it, be in awe of it, be like, what the fuck was that? Right. What was he thinking? How did he, right? But we all have a story and to get those responses, I think is the beauty of a purposeful life and a purpose driven life and a life that has found its purpose by trying to achieve that purpose. It will write the story, it will take the risk, and it will write a story worth reading. And that's why I want you to think about locking into these five principles because these five principles, when done right, I'm prime example of allow you to take risk, calculated risk, to create a continuation of a narrative that has already begun as soon as you came out the womb crying. The thing is not to fall along the median of the averages, right? But to step out and be the outlier, the one percenter, not so much so it can be seen by someone, but so you can realize the purpose, your truth, your reason for being here. Even if it's a story that hasn't been read by someone else, you want to be able to know if you look back on your life and you look back on your eulogy. I love this about, I've heard this many a times, write your own eulogy. What would you like for people to say about you, right? When you die, right? This is the story we're talking about. I want to be cremated and I just want to be scattered in the air or wherever I got to cremated at. Some people say that's not right. That's not spiritual. It's supposed to be in the ground, get back to the insects, all that stuff. Yeah, I hear you. Again, my spirit is my spirit. Me and my God, goddess, but we talk all the time. I think they know, but what's best for me. That's if cremation is cremation. But I say it to say that I digress. Uh, while I sit here, my grapes. I don't know what it is. You got drink champs. I love grapes. That's my thing. So you're gonna see this a lot on here. Okay. When I pass, whenever that is, physically pass, like the body is done because it's happening at some point, whenever, who knows. But when I do, my only hope is that I have written every letter, every line within my story in such a way that it is excitable, it is learned, it is well crafted, that someone can see that I try to use everything, all of the abilities that I have to the best of their talents and to the best of what I could in order to leave that seed underneath a tree that whose shade I will never sit underneath. I hope that someone can use that and feel the shade and the warmth and the necessary rest points and growth points to move forward. These 5 principles, I know without a doubt, are those tools, are the principles that I know if used like I use them and like others before me and others currently right now are using, to the best of its ability, will leave that shade necessary for the next and the next to be able to continue on their journey to find their best self and their purpose so they can take the calculated risk so they can write a story that's exciting and fun and purposeful and intense and everything you want it to be. Um, there's no shame in wanting to leave something of substance. This is why people want kids, because you want to continue the legacy. You want to continue a part of you. You feel like by having a child, you're leaving a part of yourself here that will continue the legacy, your words of wisdom, your delivery of jokes, your intellectual prowess, your work ethic, whatever it might be. You're saying that's why I want to have kids, right? I have a daughter who's 19, but for me it's even more so. Again, I didn't have her to continue the legacy. I believe it's my job to permeate the world in such a way that the child that wasn't birthed by my bloodline, that hears my story, can be the best of herself or himself because they couldn't see anything else, but they heard my voice and they felt like they could be better. They could get through. That is still leaving the legacy. Talked about in one of the other videos that I love my daughter, of course, it's my blood. But I also love another person's child because, again, they're youth, they're kids, they don't know. I love another man or another woman, like me, and I say love, not like love, like my romantic lady. But I have love for humanity because this is why I created the 5 principles, because I want us stepping away from things that are separating us, things that are putting up a veneer of correctness, but we latch onto these things and then we segment everybody because you're not a part of this, or you're not from this, or you're not this tribe, or you're not this ethnicity, or you're not this religion, you're not this political party, you're not this economic status, you're not, but yet everything about us is we are. So this is why these principles stand true no matter any of those: the dogma, your wealth, your religious dogma, your religious status, your economic status, your political placement, your part of a region of the world where you're from. Doesn't matter. If you institute these 5 principles, you too will be able to go on your purposeful journey to find your purpose, to take your calculated risk because you can't do it without it, to create a story worth listening to. Otherwise, you'll continue searching for your purpose. You won't take the risk, and you'll write a story that just gets buried along with everyone else that are in the graves, dead and gone, and never having tried to achieve what it is that they could fully achieve because they didn't want to take the risk, didn't know how to take the risk, couldn't see themselves fathoming taking a risk, and they just coasted. So that's why when I saw that shirt today in the gym, I was like, I want to talk about that because I have talked about it, but I wanted to address it specifically. Purpose, no risk, no story. Purposeful life, well lived. You're going to take calculated risk and you're going to write an amazing story along the way. Enjoy the process. Don't shrink from it. Lean into it. I promise you it's worth it. Go after what you want. Live well, live well. I'll talk to you soon, my friends.